Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so look at the screen. Here I take the class exception because we are going to learn about exceptions. As we all know that public static void main is common for all the programs. And here I take a variable x which is of int data type, and I also take variable a and I store 10, and in the same way I take variable b and here I store 5. Then I take the same variable which I declared in before, x. So here I was taking x is equals to a by b. That means 10 by 5 when, and we'll get the output as 2. And I was forgetting the semicolon. I was just removing here to show you what is meant by compile time errors, and here I was printing the x. So let me run the program. So here in the terminal, if you observe it, we have an error, syntax error. Insert semicolon to complete the statement. Wait a second. So see here in the terminal, we got an error which is a syntax error. And what the syntax error is telling us, insert semicolon to complete statement. So these syntactical errors are known as compile time errors. That means we can know the error while we are executing the program. So I was putting the semicolon here. If you run the program now, we'll get the output as 2 here. Is it clear to everybody? Is it clear what is meant by compile time errors? Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So now, what are meant by runtime errors? Runtime errors are nothing but the errors which are known in the runtime. That means there will be no syntactical errors, all the code will be executed successfully, but there will be no output. So here I was taking b is equal to 0, and in the next statement I take x is equals to a by b. That means 10 by 0. We know that any number cannot be divided by 0. But when I was trying to print x, there will be an exception. That means there will be a predefined exception which tells it is an arithmetic exception. That means we cannot divide any number by 0. So let me run the program, and so that you will know what the output will be. So here, if you see here, so here you will get exception in thread main, java.lang.arithmetic exception, which what is that arithmetic exception? Divide by 0. So did you understand it? What is meant by exception?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. There are many ways to handle these exceptions. So wait a minute. So these exception handling are useful to handle these runtime errors. In this exception handling, we basically use 5 keywords to handle or to manage the runtime errors. And those 5 keywords are try, catch, throw, throws, and finally. If we comes to the keyword try is usually used to represent the block of statements which consists of errors. For example, here x is equals to a by b. This is the statement or the code which will produce the error. So we need to write this code in try block section. And catch section is usually used to handle the exception. That means if we wanted to catch this exception or error, we need to write the catch block section to handle or to manage the error code. And if we write catch block, we used to write in catch block section, we used to write the exception, like which type of exception is going to occur in our terminal. Those are the statements should be written in the catch block statement. Throw section is mainly used to throw the exception into the catch block section. Whenever the try block statement, the statements which are in the try block are executed, the keyword throw automatically, that means implicitly call the exception and it throw the exception into the catch block. Then the catch block statements will be executed. The catch block statement consists of the exception which are consist of the type of exceptions. And throws, don't confuse between throw and throws. Throw usually, just remember, throw throws the exception into the catch block section, but throws is already is used when we already know that this code is getting an exception. Then throws is used. That means when we write a block of statements, then if the if we know beforehand, that means there will be some error in the code, then we write those type of statements in the throws. And finally is used when a block of statements should be executed even if the error was there in the program. That means even the error comes in the program, the finally keyword, if we use finally keyword, the statements in the finally keyword will automatically execute those type of statements which are written in that block. So is it clear or should I repeat it again slowly? Is it clear? Do you have? So now you get the idea of 5 keywords. So let me write a program by using try and catch. Okay. Is it clear about 5 keywords or should I repeat it?
Clear, ma'am.
Okay, what about remaining? Is it clear? At least respond in the chat section.
Once repeat.
Okay. So avoid the background noises. Whenever we use it, okay, see, there are 5 keywords in the exception. Those are try, catch, throw, throws, and finally. Let me write in a notepad so that they will be visible to you. We have try, catch, throw, throws, finally. This try block is used to write a block of statements which consists of errors. For example, if you see in the before program, here x is equals to a by b. That is the statement which produces the error, right? If we divide 10 by 0, there will be some error. And when we are trying to print that statement, like print the value of x, there will be some error raised in these two lines. Is it right? So these are the statements which produces the error. So we need to keep these statements in the try block section so that the statements will be, so that the error will be, you know, సో మనకి దానివల్ల ఏ స్టేట్మెంట్స్ దగ్గర అయితే ఎర్రర్ ఉందనేది తెలుస్తుంది. So catch block section is used if we here here in this program, while we are executing the program and when we are trying to print the value of x, there will be an error while printing the x. So here in the terminal we get arithmetic exception cannot be divided by 0. These can be predefinedly written in the catch block section. That means whenever a try block consists of some code which produces the error, that can be identified by the catch block and can be showed in the terminal that this type of exception is arising when we are trying to execute the code which present in the try block section. Throws usually throw the exception. That means whenever we are executing the try block statements, we are noticing that there would be a rise of error. So this throw keyword automatically, without calling it, it implicitly throw the exception. That means throw the control of execution in the try block statements to catch block statements, so that the try block statements will not be, they will be executed, but there would be no output, and the catch block statements will be executed and the output will be showed in the terminal. Then throws. Here throws is usually used when we predefinedly know that there would be an error here when we compare to the before program, in before program we know that we cannot divide any number by 0, so we already know that there would be an error raising in the program, so those type of statements can be written in the throws. That means we'll beforehandly know about these type of errors would be raised or these type of exceptions should be raised. And finally is used if we take an example that when we are executing a code, we already know that there would be an error. Let us take the same program which we written. We cannot divide a number by 0, so we already know that. So if we write finally keyword, and if we write finally and we write this block of statements that it cannot be divided by 0, in finally if we write the code like print statements we cannot divide it by 0, then irrespective of the error or irrespective of the exception we get, the finally finally block of statements will be executed and the output will be shown in the terminal what are the statements that we written in the finally. Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I'll show the program how to write by using try and catch block. And before going into the program, there are multiple number of exceptions. And in the first program, we have discussed arithmetic exception. And there were multiple exceptions. In that exceptions, we have arithmetic exceptions, array index out of bound, number format, null pointer. We'll discuss one by one. So here I was modifying the same program, arithmetic exception program, by using the exception keywords try and catch. Here, if you see class exception, this is a class name and public static void main is common for every program. And this is used to pass the statements or parameters. Here, there will be no error in taking the inputs. So, here, here I was taking try. As you know that while compiling these two errors only, we'll get the error. So write the code which gets errors or raise error in the try section. As we discussed, the code which contains the errors or the code which will be, you know, raises an exception will be written in the try block statements. I was using try and I was keeping these two statements in the try block section. And here I was using catch. So if we didn't know about what type of exception will be in the terminal, or if you don't know about what type of exception will be going to come while executing the program, you can take it as exception E. And here I was representing exception as E. Or else, if you have an idea about, yes, while executing this, we'll get the arithmetic exception, then you can write arithmetic exception, and you can take any variable. I was taking E. Here I was printing E. I closed this section. So here I was executing the program. So if you see here, we'll get same error, no exception of type exception as of throwable. So let me write, we already know that it is a arithmetic exception, so let me write it as arithmetic. And in the print statement I was writing cannot be divided by 0. So here if you see, let me show you. Here in this program, we return the block of statements in the try section which raises the error. And in the catch block section, we already know that it is an arithmetic exception, and we take the arithmetic exception as E. And if an arithmetic exception rises, then only the catch block statements will be executed, or else the catch block statements will not be executed. So here an arithmetic exception is raised, so the catch. So whenever an arithmetic exception raises, the catch block statements will be executed, and in the catch block statement we have a print statement cannot be divided by 0. In the output we get the same cannot be divided by 0. Exception raises and it cannot be divided by 0. So is it clear about how to write a program by using try and catch block? Is it clear? Okay. So we have seen arithmetic exception. So now we are going to discuss about array index out of So now we are going to discuss about array index out of bound. I was losing the signal, so don't mind it. I was taking a new file. And see, whenever you are writing a program in Java, you must save the So here I was taking the statements in the try block. For array index out of bound, we have to declare an array. Here I was taking the int type of array. I was taking the array size as 5. I hope you all know about how to declare array. Here array name is A and the size of the array is 5. But in the print statement, I was printing the array size 10. But we only have array and the size of the array is 5, but I was trying to print A of 10 so that we'll get array index out of bound exception. So in the catch block, I was writing the type of exception and I was taking the exception as E. And if an array index out of bound exception occurs, then I was printing the statement. There is no index. Index number 10. So I was saving this. So here I was getting a error. Okay, I'll go through this program again. Like, have you write in arithmetic exception in the same way? We need to write array index, out of bound, and number format and null pointer. I'll go through it again, and you know, I'll say the program in the next class. So if you have any doubts, ask. So today class is all about exception, and I said exception, and we also discussed about errors and what is runtime error and compile time error, and we also discussed about keywords in the exception handling, and we also discussed arithmetic exception. So we'll discuss the remaining three tomorrow. If you have any doubts, you can ask me. Okay, I'll take the attendance now. Please say your names or put your names in the chat box. Is it clear, everybody? Is it clear? Okay. 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 If you have any doubts, ask me. Remaining three exception, and I'll also add one more exception so that we'll discuss five exception. So today we have discussed these all, and tomorrow we'll discuss remaining four exception, and we also and I'll start the class at 6:30 tomorrow. So today I was quite busy.
Ma'am Harika.
Okay, okay, wait. I'll open the Excel sheet. In the meanwhile, you can ask me any doubts. Harika, Rajgiri Harika, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Next.
Bhargavi, ma'am.
Yeah, Bhargavi. Bhargavi Harika, that's it? Only two?
Ma'am, Uma ma'am.
She never respond, only Only you people are saying her name, but she never respond or she never try to interact in the class. Only three of you. That's it. That's it. Remaining all absent. Respond Renuka, Yamini. You don't need any attendance.
Madam, present, ma'am. Madam,
Yes, Renuka.
present, ma'am.
Okay. What about Uma? Uma,
Ma'am,
Yamini.
present.
Uma,
Present.
are you there? Uma,
Yes,
are you
ma'am.
there in class? You never respond in the class. You never ask any doubts.
Ma'am,
Are
ఇందాక
you
అడిగింది నేనే మ్యామ్ రిపీట్ చేయమని.
okay? Okay.
ఓకే మ్యామ్, థ్యాంక్స్.
What about Yamini? Yamini. Okay, Yamini, I'll give you present. Okay, you may leave now. Everybody,
థ్యాంక్
leave
యూ
the
మ్యామ్.
class. Okay, okay. If you have any doubts, ask me.